Welcome back to the Turn on the Music podcast. My name is Kyle. This is episode 35, and it's our last episode of the season. And of course, we've got CJ here to discuss it. How are you, sir?
Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah?
It's been a week.
Yeah. Not a bad week.
No, it's been
Just
good
a
and
week.
bad. but
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I don't think, no, I agree. It's like, it was good and bad.
Yeah.
I think for the first time, it was more good than bad.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, last episode.
Last episode of the season
Yeah.
2. I meant to check and see where we are download-wise. To see where we end up season 2. Let's see if I can refresh the page quickly.
Nope.
4,308.
Is that bad?
No.
And that may change because people may pick up during the winter months.
Yep.
So we'll go on a little hiatus until about April 2nd, which is the first Tuesday in April, not March.
Or March.
And at this point in time, we're going back to the same format we had last season, where we kind of pick out some artists, talk about them, share some of their music, and then we'll do some interviews. I know of one interview that we're totally lining up. It's gonna be it's an author.
He actually emailed a while back, and I emailed him back. Haven't heard back since. So
yeah, no, he's up for it though. I heard that he was. So,
cool.
So I don't see us changing those formats just yet, unless something happens the next few weeks and we have a crazy epiphany. We're like,
well, Advent's coming. So
true. You didn't go live this the Friday prior to this coming out because you knew it was Black Friday weekend and people probably crazy shopping.
Yep.
And then what's the last thing? Oh, we will, after this episode, go live on Wednesday nights starting December 6th through the holiday season. So you get to listen to us this Wednesday, Friday, and Sundays. Wednesday, Fridays, and Sundays. So we're going to do it for fun, just to, put a little holiday music out there. A mix of everything. Yeah, I think we're going to have a mix of everything. Anything else that you think that?
I don't think so.
No? All right. What have you been listening to?
So I found an album, 2 albums actually, of some cover songs. And I thought the artist that covered them was interesting. I thought I would try to play some of it for you and see if you can figure out who the artist is. I think it's very obvious, but
do I know the artist?
You do.
Okay.
Sure. And I think the first song was one of the more interesting covers I've heard in a while. So let's just take a listen to this. All right, before you tell me who it is, I have a couple more that I want to play.
Please, because I'm like, I know the voice, but I
Okay.
can't. Yeah,
Okay. I thought it was
that
going to
was
be
a
more
very
obvious than that.
interesting cover to hear.
I will give you I won't give you a hint on this one, but I will tell you that one of the singers on this one is Ryan Shaw.
Okay.
So that is not who the artist is, but he does sing on this one. Another well-known tune. I'm sure you'll recognize this one as well.
When a man loves a woman, can't keep his mind on nothing else. He trades the world for the good thing he's found. If she's bad, he can't see it. She can do no wrong. Turn his back on his best friend if he put her down. When a man loves a woman, he'll spend his very last dime trying to hold on to what he needs. He'd give up all of his comforts and he'll sleep out in the rain.
All right, I got a couple more, just in case you haven't gotten it yet. This one is another one that you probably know. We Can Work It Out. This is I don't know how to say her last name, but Sarah Niemitz, maybe, is the other vocalist on this one.
Try to say things my way. Do I have to keep on talking till I can't go on? Why you see it your way? The risk of knowing that our love may soon be gone. We can work it out. We can work it out.
Think of what you're saying. You can get it wrong and still you think that it's alright. Think of what I'm saying. We can work it out and get straight up, say goodnight.
We can work it out. We can work it out. Life is very short and there's no time.
All right, I got two more. This one is called Crazy. Another popular one.
I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place. Even your emotions have an echo in so much space. Hey, hey. And when you're out there without care, yeah, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know enough. I just knew too much. Ooh, does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Possibly.
And I hope that you are having the time of your life. But think twice. That's my only advice. Yeah, yeah.
All right, one more, because it's Warren Haynes, and I love Warren's voice. I wasn't as familiar with this tune. This is called Sitting on Top of the World.
Was all the summer and all the fall, just trying to find my little all in all. But now she's gone, and I don't worry. I'm sitting on top of the world. Was in the spring, one summer day, just when she left me, she's gone to stay. But now she's gone, and I don't worry. I'm sitting on top of the world. Well, come here running, holding up your hand. Can't get me a woman, can just kill a man. Now she's gone, I don't worry. I said I'm sitting on top of the world.
All right. Your guess, sir.
It's is it someone really, really well known?
Yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Because then my guess is wrong.
Who is your choice?
It almost sounded like Robert Randolph,
Okay.
like a couple of songs, but then I realized that he's more well known. That person's more well known.
Much more well known.
I don't know. I'm gonna probably smack myself for not knowing.
I think you will. I will give you one of their hits.
Really?
It
When
is
did you
Blues
find-
Traveler.
It is.
Yep.
That was. I mean, that I was leaning in that direction, but I was like, I don't know. Wow.
Yep.
When did this
So-
album come out?
So there are two albums that came out. One of them came out in 2023 of October, and then the other one came out in 2021. So this is
And
the
there,
first
and
one
it's
was
Blues. It's Blues Traveler, or it's him.
it's Blues Traveler. Yep. So
Yeah.
the first one's called Traveler's Blues that came out in 2021. That one's got the Warren Haynes tune on it. Couple other ones, Ball and Chains got Kingfish on it, and some really cool stuff. And then the other one that came out in 2023 is called Traveler's Soul, and that's the one with Ryan Shaw. That's got When a Man Loves a Woman, and We Can Work It Out, and Waterfalls, and so yeah.
Wow. Very okay. Nice.
It was funny because I was going through like the Blues Traveler stuff. It just popped up on Rune one day, and I saw this album and I went, Waterfalls. Could that really be the Waterfall song? And I'm like, it is. So
That's hysterical.
yeah, I've been listening to it. It's both albums are excellent, and they've got a lot of guests. So
I have to check it out.
So Waterfalls has got Pat Monahan and Daisha McBride on it. Sarah Niemitz is on We Can Work It Out. Ryan Shaw, of course. Clyde Lawrence is on that, and then the other one's got wrong one. Sorry. Got Kingfish on, John Schofield, Rita Wilson, the Warren Treaty.
Wow, Rita Wilson.
Yeah, Kev Mo. Some really cool people. So
That's awesome.
And, mostly covers, and I think they're all covers actually. And one of them was nominated for a Grammy. I think it was the one in 2021. So
That's awesome.
so
Very
that's what I've
cool.
been listening to. Both those two albums. So what about you?
So I did listen to the audiobook both ways. I kind of put it on and drove, but I listened to a Rush album,
Okay.
2112, which was recommended to me by one of our listeners on Twitch, Artemis,
Mhm.
and I was really impressed. I was like, okay, I got to listen to more of their stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna kind of put all their stuff together so I can listen to the albums, but they're really good.
Mm-hmm.
They really are.
Yeah, they are.
Like it's not that I guess I just never thought about it. Like everybody's like, "Oh, Rush is amazing." All right, cool, Rush is amazing, but I never really listened to them. I think I
Mhm.
knew like 1 or 2 songs.
Gotcha.
And I asked Artemis, I said, "What do you recommend?" She's like, "Start with 2112." And it was I listened to the whole album. I was like, "This is really good." Like,
Cool.
so that I'm down for that. I'm going to check some more of that out.
Nice.
And what's the other funny thing is my son found the Eurythmics.
Okay.
So he's been playing like Sweet Dreams Are Made of These and all that. And it's hysterical, but like I like the Eurythmics.
Mhm.
So like
Yep. Yep.
but all of a sudden he's playing it wasn't even playing it. He was going around the house. Sweet dreams are made. I'm like, what are you singing? So which is fantastic because he's listening to all the stuff that I grew up on. So
Oh, you can play Waterfalls by Blues Traveler now.
that's right. Well, that was so that's the other thing. Did you watch the parade?
No.
So he wanted to watch it, so we're watching the
Mhm.
parade. And it was like a throwback to the 90s.
Really?
Like the stuff we listened to in the night, like they had Belle de Bid DeVoe, they had In Vogue, they had a whole bunch of groups. And it was really funny because I was on Twitter or X, and Amy Bruni, the paranormal investigator from
Mhm.
Ghost Hunters and Kindred Spirits, she goes apparently the people who set up the parade realized that no one younger than 40 watches it because everybody was making comments about the fact that all this music and all this stuff that was going on was all from the
Right.
90s. So it was pretty funny. It was nostalgic at the same time.
Yeah.
It was really good.
That's
I'm
funny.
just waiting for Milli Vanilli. That's all I'm waiting for now.
Oh, man.
But that being said,
We've got a book to finish.
this last I don't even want to call it a chapter because it's kind of like an epilogue.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's entitled Who is Michael? And in the audiobook or on the audiobook, it is read by Michael.
Yeah.
The actual Michael that this is based off of.
Mhm.
And it's only 8 pages, but so much like there's so much said in these 8
Yeah.
pages. Well, I'm gonna let you start because I don't know how you want to start this.
Sure. So the tagline is, "It is better to have a question you cannot answer than an answer you cannot question." So
We're done.
basically,
That's all you have to say.
I mean, so I was talking with CJ, before we got on, and I told him I was gonna have a hard time not reading the entire chapter because there's just so much here that's great. So I'm just gonna jump right in. So it basically starts out the chapter. He says, "Who am I? I am me, and I am much more than that. We are all more than that. The difference between us is that I have remembered. My objective is to help you remember. That is who I am. Being human is an extraordinary gift, but it also comes with a price. To join the game, we must first agree to forget who we truly are. Think about it. We do not know how we got here, where we came from, or where we are going. But that is a blessing. Forgetting does not change who we truly are, only who we think we are. Forgetting allows us to choose our song and perform it, however we choose. Forgetting allows us to recreate ourselves again and again. Who we are is an extraordinary gift. That is certain." So he goes further into this, but he's alluding to the fact that he knows all of his, or remembers his past lives, and why he's come here, and we'll get further into that as we go along, I'm sure. You want me to just keep going, or do you have
Yeah.
comments
No,
on that?
I mean, the next 2 paragraphs you really don't have to.
Yeah.
Right. He basically just talks about how life is created.
Yep. Yep. And
Between
then he gets into this, talking about the readers or the listeners, depending on whether you're doing the audiobook or not. So celebrate you. Understand that your birth is a success. You have already completed and won the biggest contest, the biggest lottery, the most important race you will ever enter. That's right. You are the grand prize winner. Think about it. Of all the possibilities, life has chosen you. Even if you do nothing the whole time you inhabit this planet, you have already won, and no one can ever take your victory away. As the Beatles have alluded to, you are a magical mystery. Yes, let us start here. I already know that I am magic. Life has given you a stamp of approval to signify your triumph. Your personalized stamp is called a fingerprint, but it is, oops, hang on, sorry.
No worries.
But it is more than that, much more than that. Throughout the existence of humankind, past, present, and future, your print has never been on Earth and will never be on Earth again. That is significant. We recognize them at the end of our fingertips, but in actuality, our whole being is a print. Here is a question for you to ponder. If we are all prints to those if we are all prints, to whose fingers do we belong? As humans, we are part of life. All of life is unique and special. That means we are different and the same. Yes, we are both opposites. To be good, there must be a bad. To move forward, we must push backward. To grow an extraordinary, beautiful flower, we need plain, ordinary dirt. Experiencing both ends of the spectrum is the beauty of life. Happiness or unhappiness. Oops. Sorry. There's so much that's highlighted. Hard to turn the page. Both to oneness. Pay attention whenever you are happy. Notice that you feel connected to something. But just as the seasons come and go, happiness is fleeting. Only through our recognition and acceptance of absolute oneness, inseparableness, and our grand union with all life will we ever experience true and lasting happiness. Is it possible? We are who we are only because of who we are not. So bless all things you strive not to be, for without them, it would be more impossible for you to be who you are. Realize this: many things have to go right, even to have a bad day. Opposites. Like, I don't even know. I mean, it's done so well. I don't even know what to say about it.
Well, I mean, and it's, you talk about past lives.
Mm-hmm.
He's not talking about our physical form.
Right.
It's not a reincarnation into oneself. It's not all that stuff. It's a passing of the spirit. What I think
Mm-hmm.
is interesting is that he alludes to the fact that we can remember, if we are taught how to open up,
Right.
we can remember what our past lives were,
Mm-hmm.
and that our spirit is the same spirit through each one of those past lives.
Right.
And that, I think, is very interesting.
And I think to a certain extent, part of the phaser's job, or the phasers in this book, is to help bury that remembrance.
Right.
Because without having that remembrance, it makes their job easier. Because if we
Right.
start to remember that we've gone through this, it makes it easier to fight them.
Right. And they allude to the past lives in previously in the book because, well, actually in the first book, because when he first meets Isis, he asks about Michael, and she mentions like multiple Michaels from different decades.
Yep.
So it's not even the fact that, and it's impossible that she would have known one Michael versus the other, because she mentions Michelangelo or
Right.
something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so she's talking centuries back as if it was yesterday.
Right.
So it's definitely a remembrance of the spirit that's gone from these different
Mhm.
time frames.
Yep.
So it's a very interesting thing. And then I don't know. So he talks about in the paragraph after, he says that's not what you were asking for, because he does say in the beginning that he's a great improviser,
Mm-hmm.
which he goes, he remembers who he is, and the main difference between us, Essa, which is Isis, and Clyde, that we're aware of the journeys and the adventures, the successes and failures. But even the failures are successes, which they talk a lot in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes, I don't want to, I guess I can read. I feel like I have to read the paragraph.
Yeah.
It goes, yeah,
Go
I'll
for
read
it.
the next paragraph.
Yep.
Although I have currently chosen this voyage as a teacher, I do not look upon myself exactly as that. The title is routinely misunderstood and misused. Teachers do not teach, and those who think they do are mistaken. We, parentheses teachers, are transmitters of information whose role is to inspire the receivers, in parentheses, students, so that they may teach and learn the information themselves, which I wholeheartedly believe and
Hmm.
truly, think. If the students are having trouble understanding, we must provide the information again, possibly in a different way. If teaching were really in the hands of teachers, all students would learn at the same rate. Realizing this, we must be fluid. Like great jazz improvisers, we must adjust our methods constantly, rapidly, and in surprising ways, depending on the needs of the student. And it's so interesting because this is written what, a few years ago?
Hmm.
And this is the concept that we're working on now in education, is that we're realizing not every student learns the same way,
Right.
and we need to find out ways to help each student,
Hmm.
you know, and it's just amazing how this, you know, states that, hey,
Yep.
listen. And then the next paragraph he talks about how the word teacher can be arranged to spell cheater,
Hmm.
which I think is very interesting.
Yeah. Michael playing with the words again, like he always
Yep.
does.
And he says if we are not careful, we risk becoming more invested in our teachings than we are in our students. If this becomes the case, we may be cheating our students into believing in us more than they believe in themselves. And that first line of the next paragraph, let us teach in ways that encourage students to recognize and reclaim their inner knowing, the knowledge of self. And then he talks about how questioning plays a big factor in that. We as teachers have a tendency to give the answers versus questioning to
Hmm.
get those answers. And that was one thing I like doing in the classroom, even with the younger kids, where I'd ask a question and the kids would give an answer, and I'd be like, "That's really good. Let's add to that," or "Who knows more?" Like, ask another question to kind of build on the answer. And sometimes they're giving the wrong answer, but I understand why they gave it. And it was one of those things where you're like, "That's a good try. Let's add to that because we can get a better answer than that. It's good, but we can even get better." Like, and not say it as a mistake because we all make mistakes. We're all gonna, which is what they state.
Hmm.
And then that's when it says it is better to have a question you cannot answer than an answer you cannot question. Do you want to take over?
Sure. So then we learn a little bit about Michael and um, his life. How, he has a degree in chemistry and all this other stuff. Um, and then I'm gonna skip all that because I mean it's while it's important, I don't think it's as important as what he says later on in the chapter. He says,
Right.
"Now here's my cadenza, short and sweet. The next movement has already been written. I urge you to make the choice to remember to recreate yourself as whole. That is the magic of the universe. It is also the magic of you. With your eyes closed or open, I urge you to walk the path. Like a musician playing a song, your part does not increase or diminish who you truly are, but it does allow you to demonstrate who you are." Oh, no. Sorry. The problem with this, I've highlighted so much that when I go to turn the page, I accidentally hit the highlight and it doesn't turn the page. So, play every part with your whole being. In this way, you will give others the awareness and the courage to do the same. View your uniqueness as a reminder that your victory can never be erased. Then share the grandness of your victory with the world. The world already has me. The world has Essa, Clyde, and Victor. What the world needs now is you. You may have journeyed this far alone, but we must continue together. You do not know the destination. Knowing why will get us there. When you start to forget, we will send reminders. One you can see, one you can hear, and one you can feel. And then he says later on, whatever the question, love is the answer. And I think so much of our life, I think those reminders are there, and we ignore them a lot of the time, or don't notice them, or just say,
do you
"Oh, they're
feel
coincidence."
do you feel that the reminders are reminders from those we have known, or like those that may have passed that you've looked upon and
Hmm.
as a mentor, as a teacher? Those are some
Hmm.
reminders, and there's something that brings you back to their thought process and say,
Yes.
"Hey, don't forget about this."
Hmm.
You know,
I think it's both those mentors and whatever you want to call it, spirit, music, God, whatever. I think there are those reminders as well.
right.
I think they're both. Because
Did
I
you
think to some extent, depending on what you believe, all life returns to vibration and spirit. So it could all be the same spirit guiding you and just different portions of that spirit taking
right?
over.
Did you read the part about the feather?
Not yet.
Okay, because you read the question towards the end.
I did.
Yeah.
Did you want to read the
Um,
feather part?
I'm gonna read the feather part
Okay, read the
because
feather.
I think it goes to what we're talking about.
Sure.
A feather from our winged friends will remind you that we are together. Remember, a feather together. Do not worry, you will see it. Music will sing through the trees, blow through the wind, rise with the sun, and fall with the leaves. Listen and be silent. Her vibrations will be clear. Do not fret, you will hear her. She can be found in every sound. Be still and feel, and music will heal. That is her way. I truly that's I think that paragraph is probably one of the ones that really stands out to me
Mm-hmm.
because like I mentioned before, there have been time like I've gone out to the fire pit, like I have an iPad, I'm gonna put music on, I'm ready to go, and then I don't turn anything on but listen to the fire crackle,
Mm-hmm.
the wind blowing, and the sounds around me. Whether they're, I live in suburbia, so there's cars honking, cars driving, but listen to the birds and listen to whatever else is going on around you.
Yep.
And talking about the past lives things, I know that I've had my own experiences with seeing things that represent those who have passed in my
Mm-hmm.
life
Yep.
that were people that impacted me, family members, non-family members. And there's like little things that occur that I'm kind of like, okay, you're there. Okay, thank you. That that answers my question. Good,
Mm-hmm.
bad, or indifferent. It
Yeah.
answers my question.
Yep.
Yeah. So I do believe in that end of things. So that this chapter was kind of like, yep, I believe in all
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I have two things. I don't know which one to start with. Um,
Questions or like thoughts?
One thought and one question.
Okay.
Would you like the thought or the question?
Does the question lead into the thought?
No, they're two
Does the
separate
thought
things.
lead? It's two separate,
Two
completely.
separate things.
Ask the question first.
So I think I've mentioned on the podcast before that, especially recently, I'm struggling with death.
Yes.
So the question is, going back to what Michael said about remembering past lives. Do you think that my struggle is because I don't that that part of my brain is so or spirit or whatever is so closed off? That's why I'm struggling with it. And do you think that it is at a point where it is unobtainable to change it?
I'm going to go backwards with my answers.
Okay.
I don't think it's untainable to change it.
I agree.
I don't think that at all. Now, do you ask me this question knowing what I believe in?
No.
Okay. I believe that I'm going to share how I see how you can connect yourself to past lives. All right. From my experiences and from what I learned. And it's kind of ironic because I was talking about deja vu today.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of theories of what deja vu is,
Right.
outside of the fact that there's a glitch in the matrix. Um, Deja vu in the circle of people that I've spoken to about this is a thing where if you have a deja vu, that means that the decisions and the path that you're on have been correct and you're taking the right path into things. And today for me has been a completely deja vu, like things that happened today. It's the first, like I've had deja vu before where it's like one incident. Like today was a multiple incidents where I've had deja vu.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so I've always had the discussion and the belief that that just means you're on the right path or
Okay.
your journey's going the right direction or the whatever, that type of thing. In the sense of past lives, there's a couple ways you can look at it. One, you're a young life.
Mm.
You're not as old soul as you may think. I'm not saying that's the case with you. I'm
Right.
just saying, like,
Yeah.
I feel like old soul plays a factor. I know myself to be an old soul. I've been told by people I'm an old soul,
Hmm.
but there are people out there that are not old souls, and it's just like their soul is so new that they don't have anything to go back to.
Right.
So that's one way to look at it.
Hmm.
The other way to look at it is that you're such an old soul that you've gone through so many cycles that it's getting to the point where whomever phasers are stopping you from being able to remember
Right.
that time frame, and you're blocked in that.
Hmm.
So there's a subconscious, there's something going on. It's going, and I think it also plays to like whatever you have dealt with, whether they be traumas, whether they be
Hmm.
your personal experiences growing up, whatever they may be, they have played a factor on why your brain and your spirit, and there's a disconnect somewhere,
Hmm.
and that disconnect is what's making it difficult for you. Do you believe in a past life?
I do.
Okay.
And
And do
then
you
the other,
believe it
go
do
ahead.
you believe it as a um not as a reincarnation, but do you believe it as a, like, your spirit hops from
Hmm.
from
Yes.
vessel to vessel, whatever you want to call it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you believe in that.
Yep. So the interesting thing that I've always said to a certain degree that my brain is broken. Um, not that not that it's broken, but like so like I have a very negative brain. And I tend to see the negative first, which makes me really good at my job. Um, because when you're in cybersecurity, you want to find like the worst thing that could possibly
Right.
happen so you can
Right.
plan for it. You know, so how much of that broken brain is preventing that connection?
Then you need to separate your negativity with
Right.
work to
Hmm.
your personal life.
But it's not just with work. I mean, it's with music, it's with everything. Like
No, no,
there's
no, but that's what I'm saying, like, like, I agree with you. In my role where I work, when something comes up, like, there's a big event coming up, I think of all the possibilities that can go wrong.
hmm.
Because that's where your mindset is because I need to know that if this happens, I can do this. If this happens, I can do this. If this goes wrong, I can do that. Like, you have to think in a negative way to make sure you have
Right.
answers to
Hmm.
potential problems.
Right.
And that can bleed into
And
going
it
home
does.
and then looking at your music
Right.
and be like, I can't get through this.
Yes.
Or, looking at, I'm going to pick out something simple, cleaning the house. I can't through
Hmm.
this.
Yep.
This is what's going to happen if I start cleaning the house. So I'm not going to do it.
Hmm.
Like, this is what's going to happen if I start trying to play this piece. This is not going to.
Yep.
I think that I think as a society, that's what happens.
Hmm.
Is this we live in a society where we work 40 plus hours a week to make money to live in a house
Hmm.
and then to keep up with the Joneses, essentially.
Yep.
Because subconsciously, you may say to yourself, oh, I'm not keeping up with the Joneses, but in a sense, you are. Or if something goes, a TV breaks, so you're replacing the TV.
Hmm.
Like, we need to have money for that, you know? And yet we buy into everything, warranties and this and that. Health insurance becomes like, it's just, we aren't getting anywhere from any of that.
Yep.
The people that, and so when we come home, we can't turn off the work factor because the work factor is our livelihood. We're in it 40 hours a week. There's like, the whole running joke is I see my wife nights and weekends and my son nights and weekends. I see the people I work with 40 hours a week.
Right.
Like, how crazy is that?
Hmm.
You know, you start a family, or you get married, you start a family, and this and that, and you're only seeing them for the nights and weekends.
Yep. And most
Like,
of those nights you're sleeping.
exactly. Where there's something else going on, so you don't even have the opportunity to get quality time in with them.
Yep.
And I think that's, I don't know if your brain is broken. I think that I know what you're saying, and that's why I'm using your words. I
Hmm.
think for you, it's probably more the fact that this is what you know.
Right.
And this is what you've known for a long time. From
Mhm.
knowing you, you've known this for a long time. This
Yep.
has been your life for a long time.
Mhm.
You
Yep.
were young when this started happening.
Yeah.
You had no choice.
Right.
You were in a situation where you needed to do it.
Mhm.
And I think that's what it is. And you're so stuck in that path in that way
Yep.
that you're probably feeling like you're missing things,
Mhm.
you know? And
And
I
I
get
think
that.
the good thing is stuff like this where we question it, and I think that that's a positive thing, going forward, trying to question it and figure it out and not just accept it.
I agree. There's
So,
we played Dream Theater this one of these past live shows,
mm,
and there's the Metropolis Part 2 album.
yep.
And in one of the tracks, there's a line that um I forget the exact thing, but it says death is not the end, it's only a transition.
Mm,
And when I first heard it, I was like, "Oh, that's interesting, right?"
yep.
You're not really, but if you think about what Michael has said through this whole entire book, you're not dying, you're just transitioning,
Mhm.
right? We see death as finite, and I struggle with it sometimes too.
Mhm.
Like I struggle it to the point where it's even like, am I gonna be buried alive? Like
Mm,
those are the things that go through my head sometimes. Like, am
wow.
I gonna wake up? Right? Um, I think that yeah, I think talking through is probably one of the best things.
Mhm.
And it's hard. It's hard because you don't know who accepts it.
Right.
Like like you and I talk about it and we have pretty similar views on
Mhm.
where things are and paths and stuff.
Yep.
But there's not many people that may have that, and then to have this discussion, you also don't want to be discouraged.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's tough. But I think a part of it, I think a big part of it is that you started so young when it came to work
Mhm.
and supporting and doing whatever you can do. I mean, you've always been there for your family.
Yep.
Ever since I met you,
Mhm.
like as even in the most difficult times, you were their support,
Yep.
and you still are.
Mhm.
To this day. And you've been in it that way for so long that I think that's why it feels so hard to um not to use the phrase but think differently.
Yep.
So I think you can change it.
Mhm.
um so there's two ways you could look at that. It's either actually put your focus on it and try to change it,
Mhm.
or just kind of let go of everything
Right.
and let it change itself,
Right.
and it'll click one day.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah. Is that what you've thought about?
Yep.
Yeah. So a little validation.
Yeah, a little bit.
So what's the thought?
So the thought, this happened a couple weeks ago. That I think I told you about it. You know that I've been wanting to see an owl for like out in the wild, like forever.
Yes, yes.
And I was sitting in my bedroom a couple weeks ago and I heard an owl and I went, whoa. So I went to the kitchen to see where it was, opened the door. It was outside my door. And I
Okay.
think the cool thing is like so much of what you were talking about earlier, just sitting and listening, um it's very easy for people to shut off, but I was working that night on being more open and more receptive. Like that thing that happened to me at Houston Woods, where I was taking pictures and I started to use my like Victor says, use my whole body as an eardrum kind of a thing. And I started doing that night just to see what was going on, and that's when I heard it.
Mhm.
So I heard a great horned owl, 2 nights in a row, actually. In fact, the second night I heard, I think two of them, but maybe three of them, kind of calling back and forth, which was really kind of cool.
Right.
Haven't heard them since, so I don't know where
Right.
they are, but it's kind of interesting that that's some like that sort of thing is like validation. Like, yes, what I was doing was right. You know.
So let me ask you this.
Hmm.
Did you look into what my hair looks like? I have like this weird like so weird looking at did you happen to just look and see what owls represent?
Someone did. I forget who it was. I think it was Jen. She
So
texted me something.
let's just take a quick look. So Native American culture is the owl is the spirit of a deceased ancestor or other spirit,
Hmm.
right? And they represent the energy of the wise elders, ancestors that have previously walked the land. Okay, so
Hmm.
that's one thing. In Japanese and Chinese culture, they symbolize good fortune and protection. And it's said that placing an owl in your home, either through an object or painting, will banish negative energies. So let me ask you a question. So it says to bring about abundance mentally, physically, and emotionally.
Hmm. Oops.
When you
Wrong key.
saw this out,
Oh no. Sorry.
there's music going. Yeah. So when this happened,
Hmm.
did your thought process like did you go back into that thought process of like the fear of death?
No.
You felt better, right?
Yep.
Okay. In ancient Egypt, Greece, um, gatekeepers of the underworld, helping protect the souls of those who unintentionally strayed into this land, right? So they're more on that end of it. In Jewish religion, it is revealed as an unclean bird and used in stories to express desolation. I don't think that
Hmm.
applies to the situation. I don't see for me the religion. I love religions. I think people have every right to believe and do and feel and have that faith. I think in the sense of when you're dealing with symbolism, I think they rely more on the spiritual end of things than an actual faith.
Hmm.
Because I think each religion can depict that character or that thing. Colors. The black owls are not only symbols of spiritual protection, but they also symbolize symbols of the subconscious mind. What kind of owl was it?
Great horned owl.
And what color was it?
Gray.
So gray owl. Gray owls are all about balance and trust. Gray owls represent the yin and yang of life. There you go.
There you go.
The idea that's perfect.
Yep.
That's perfect. The idea that even when we can't see the full path ahead, we're being asked to trust the steps in front of us, which is essentially what you were talking about.
Hmm.
And gray owls encourage bigger picture thinking and help release us from the talons of perfectionism and non-action. Small steps
Hmm.
forward are better than no steps.
Yep.
That's that right there.
Yeah.
That's like that whole discussion
Yeah.
right there.
Absolutely.
And it
And
and it came at the right time, it sounds
yeah.
like.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And what Jen sent me was what an owl symbolizes. Owls symbolize inner wisdom, change, transformation, intuitive
Yes.
development, good luck,
Yes.
and self actualization.
Yeah. I think that it goes back to what is said in this book. We do not listen or pay attention to what's going on around us.
Hmm.
And that's when we miss everything,
Right.
especially the things that could be important to us. And it's really funny because sometimes when I'm walking around with people and I'm talking, I don't always look at them because I'm looking at everything going on around me. It's
Hmm.
like a self-awareness to make sure that some of it is kind of like a defense thing to make sure that we're safe and whomever I'm with, I'm keeping
Yep.
safe. But some of it is more of the fact that I need to know, like I need to know what's going on.
Hmm.
And I do, I truly believe that you got something right there.
Hmm.
Something or someone sent that owl to you and said,
Yep.
who?
And to bring it back to the book, one of the sections that we didn't actually read is Michael says that this hawk brought him to Clyde and
Right,
Essa
right,
to help him remember who he was.
right. And that's the thing. I truly believe that there is a connection through all species.
Hmm.
And listen, I know there's people out there that fight for the fact that we eat animals and stuff like that, but people have been eating animals for centuries and
Hmm.
centuries and centuries. Um, but the big thing
If
is
we
that
weren't
doesn't mean you
supposed to, they
still
wouldn't
can't,
taste so good.
huh?
If we weren't supposed to, they wouldn't taste so good. We're not
Eh,
supposed to be
but
eating vegetables is the problem.
and but it goes to the fact that you know we're all connected. There's vibrations everywhere. The
Hmm.
thoughts out there. I was having this conversation with somebody about I forget what it was, but it was the idea of once a thought is out there, a vibration is out there. It's constantly out there. It's out there forever.
Hmm.
And I was talking about how we're fully. It's a collective, and once a thought is out there, someone else is going to feel or hear that thought, and they're going to, so. And they said that's very interesting, and that's kind of how I got them onto like checking out the book and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it that's why I think these books are fantastic, because there's no
Yeah.
religion in them.
Right.
All it is a spiritual growth
Mm-hmm.
through music, but a
Yep.
spiritual growth, and having you kind of, because you could take this and bring it to your religion,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whatever
You
he
sure
wrote in
can.
here,
Yep.
you can take that idea of listening and saying you got to listen more, you got to pay more attention to
Mm-hmm.
what's being said and stuff like that.
And I think the other thing that you can do with both books, so I think the first one was more musical focused and the second was more spiritual focused. But I think both of them do a good job of, you can take what you want out of it
Right,
and go as deep as you want into it.
right, right, right. And for us who have read it multiple times, we have taken different things out of it each time.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
I think that's it. That's crazy.
Yep.
35 episodes, 2 books,
Mm-hmm.
and a thank you to Mr. Victor Wooten
Yes.
for
And Michael.
taking, huh?
And
Or
Michael.
Michael. Yep, and
Yep.
Michael. Well, I say thank you to him because he took what was being shared
Mm-hmm.
and shared it
Yep.
with us by
Mm-hmm.
putting it into a written form. And and it's funny because like they said, like he says, whether it's true or not, you have to believe it. It's your truth or whatever he said.
Yep.
And I would take, I would, I would put 90% of this is real.
Yep.
I'm sure there's like 10% of embellishment just to make it interesting.
Yep.
But I bought 2 more copies of these and 2 more copies of the music lesson. I have one person I'm definitely sending 2 copies to, and I have another person who's starting to read them, and I know someone who's purchasing the other 2. And I'm gonna. It's just I keep encouraging people to read this book.
Mm-hmm.
You
Is that
know,
a glossy copy or is that a satin copy?
satin.
Okay. It looked
Why?
glossy in the camera because I've never seen a glossy version.
I don't think there is. I don't even think
Yeah.
there's a hardcover.
No, I don't think so either. It
I
just looked
think.
shiny in the camera, so I
Yeah,
thought
no, I
maybe
get
it
it.
was.
I actually like the feel of the satin one.
I do too.
Yeah. So.
Sorry, I'm choking on my tea.
I thought tea was supposed to help you not choke and cough.
Yeah, not when you can't drink it though.
That's it's the end of season 2.
End of season 2. We'll be back with you April
Second.
2nd, 3rd, 2nd.
Second.
And make
First
sure that
Tuesday
you
of March.
Yeah, it's the first Tuesday of March. That short's coming out soon. I have to finish making that one. But yeah, so make sure you're following us on the social media stuff. I hear Big Sky, Blue Sky, Blue Sky.
Blue Sky is set
It's
up.
coming. Okay.
I'm turning on the link in the link tree. So if you click the link tree in the show notes that I know Kyle puts in there, you can start following us there, and we'll start posting on Blue Sky as well.
Yep.
So we're on Blue Sky, X, Instagram are the top 3 for us right now. Depending upon what happens to one of those said social media platforms, those are the 3. Potentially a 4th if the need is, if we feel it's needed. So, and I want to thank you for taking your time over the past however many months we've been putting these episodes out, for the editing that you've done, putting together the YouTube and making sure that everything's ready to go. And I look forward to season 3.
Mm-hmm.
I really do.
Yep. And thank you to our listeners that have come back every week. I hope you've enjoyed the journey, and we hope to continue the journey in a few months. So
yeah, check us out live.
Yep, we'll be
Twitch.
live for the next several weeks on Twitch on Wednesday nights, and we're going to continue our Sunday nights, and I'll be doing my Fridays again. You'll probably this will come out on Tuesday. So if you want to hear those 2 Blues Traveler albums, that's likely what's going to happen on Friday.
Oh, nice.
So stick
That's cool.
around for Friday.
And then that Sunday after will probably be our first night of doing holiday music.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very cool. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. We'll see you all in April or on the
April.
live streams. See ya.
See ya.